Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you could tell by the title, we are actually going to be discussing boundaries today. I need to know, how good are you guys at setting boundaries? Because I feel like this week I've really come into contact with a lot of people that, including myself, even looking at myself in the mirror, where I had to put in boundaries and I didn't necessarily want to, or I felt like it was going to be tough to do so. So how good are you guys at setting boundaries? If you're watching this video, you're probably not that good. So I just want to know, put down in the comments below, do you feel confident setting boundaries with all people, or, just there's certain people that you can set boundaries with? How good are you at setting boundaries? But if you're not, that's okay. Sometimes I'm not either, but we are going to talk about it. So just keep on watching. Okay, first things first, I just want to make sure I'm clear on the boundaries that I'm discussing, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. So for a boundary, when I think about boundaries, I think about not overextending myself or shortchanging myself. I have to keep reminding myself that sometimes me not having a boundary actually creates more chaos for me than it does peace. Because I don't know about you guys, but maybe you don't say anything about certain things because you don't want the peace to be ruined. You don't want the extra altercation, or you don't want the extra dialogue. But when you don't say anything, it's still not a good experience for you. So it's kind of like, what's the point? You have the right to set a boundary for yourself and speak up for yourself. You can advocate for yourself, and you have the right to. So I just want to make it clear, first things first, is that when I think about a boundary, I'm thinking about when I have to approach someone because I'm either overextending myself due to whatever's going on, or I'm shortchanging myself and I don't feel like it's right. It's not helping me. It's not making me feel good. So I have to say something because I need to set a boundary. And if you've ever been in that same situation, you need to set a boundary. It is what it is. And the longer you wait, the more irritated and annoyed you're going to be. It's not going to go away. You have to speak up for yourself. So I'm going to get into probably the 4 kinds of boundaries that you need to set. And then we'll kind of just delve into them as we go. Okay? Now, the first boundary I want to talk about is work. And I think sometimes this just depends on what you do for a living, to a certain extent, because the boundary for work, it does not always have to be actually with the people you work with. It could be simply your job. For instance, I work in the community sector where I am almost on 24/7. That's just kind of how it is. When I go home, it does not turn off. But to a certain extent, I've had to learn a boundary for myself. I'm not working through lunchtime. I am not answering my phone past 5:30. Or hey, especially if it's not a crisis, there are boundaries that you have to put in place for yourself. So for work, if you need that hour or that 30 minutes to take your lunch, take your lunch. Do not work through your lunch. Do not entertain people at work through your lunch. Have that time for you. You have the right to put that boundary in. They're paying you for the 8 hours that you are working. Not the 9 hours that you're there, but the 8 hours you're working. That's a boundary that you can put in place. Or if you need it where there's a boundary with people that you actually work with and not the job itself, like for working, how about you're that dependable person that everyone always comes to if they need something from you, and you always follow through. Work loves these types of people. I love these types of people. But the thing is, with those types of people, most times y'all get tired. You're overextending yourself. You're doing your work and you're doing someone else's work or helping them with the favor. And then when you go and you're looking for someone to help you, ain't nobody around. It's Casper the Friendly Ghost up in there. Ain't nobody there to help you. Nobody volunteers. Nobody says anything. You're all on your own. So I suggest in a situation like that, if you're that person, only do favors for people that do favors for you, or like, nah, I can't do this because I have my work to do, and maybe they'll offer to help you with your work so that you can help them with theirs. Yeah, so you can help them with theirs. I mean, because it's a give and take. You can't, nobody can just take from someone and then expect a person not to get tired. So anyway, if you don't have an issue with making the boundaries for the work itself, but making a boundary with the people that you work with, try that. You don't have to be rude about it, but you do need to set that boundary from yourself, because you can get burnout. It don't matter what job you have. You can achieve burnout, and we not looking to do that. Every one of our jobs is tedious enough, is I don't want to say a burden, but it's like it's heavy on our shoulders as it is. You do not need to be taking on someone else's work and not having them help you like when you need them. If it's a team environment, let it be a team. And if they're not giving team vibes, you don't have to give team effort. Does that make sense? So that's just a little suggestion for work. Think of ways that you do not overextend yourself with the job and with the people that you work with. Next, I kind of want to talk about a harder one, like peer boundaries or like your friendship boundaries. And I think it really depends. I need you to sit down and think about what the actual problem is, or what's going on in the situation. So like if you're talking to a friend and you just want them to have like a listening ear, you don't really want to hear like what they have to say, or every time they say something it is negative, you can kind of stop them in their tracks. Like, I appreciate and I know that you're trying to be there for me right now, but this is not helping. I just really wanted you to listen, because I ain't gonna lie, I sometimes can be, I need that boundary. And for the friend that you're giving the boundary to, they might honestly appreciate it because they're saying or giving you advice because they actually care about you. I'm one of those friends where it's almost like, okay, you're telling me a problem. I need to know up front. Are you telling me because you want me to listen? Or are you telling me because you actually want a solution to the problem that we're talking about? Or 3, do you want me to be as mad as you mad right now? Like, are we in this? You want me to get together in this so I can understand, Anyway, so the point is, make sure you put that boundary in there, because with friendships, we share a lot of things together. And sometimes that can mean that you limit access. Like, prime example, if you have friends and you're married, but all of your other friends are single, you might need to put that boundary in there for yourself or to your friends that, hey, like, my marriage is off limits. That's just not something I'm going to talk about, or, that's not something that you can comment on. That's not it. That's putting in a boundary in place so that it doesn't cause, problems in the future. You have a right to put in boundaries. So another one is relational boundaries, the person that you are with. And this sometimes I think can be hard because this is your partner. This is supposed to be your second half of you, your other half. This is supposed to be your other half. So I feel like it's a little bit harder for you to communicate like, hey, like, I'm not doing this, because I believe relationships should be compromises, but there's nothing wrong within the situation to create your boundaries, to literally just communicate your feelings and where you are at, what you are ready to do and what you are not ready to do. I mean, it's pretty simple as that. Or like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this. And if this person really cares about you and loves you because you guys are in a romantic relationship, they should be understanding of that, and that should be the boundary. Does that make sense? Like, hey, I don't please don't do that because it really makes me feel some type of way, and some stuff just shouldn't, you shouldn't do this. Boom, boom, solved. Now, I really want to talk about family, because I feel like family is another hard one where we struggle with putting in boundaries with. These are the people that literally have our DNA. But just because they have our DNA does not make them above anyone else. Doesn't mean that they can run over you. You have the right to put in a boundary. So, for instance, if it's where there's this cousin that always asks to borrow money from you but never pays it back, and you have your own bills to pay, it's not like you just have spare cash and everything laying around. You have the right to say, hey, cuz, this money is done. I can't give you no more money because I got my own things going on. So if you're calling for money, don't call me. You can put that boundary in. You can say, I don't mind having a relationship with you. I love you, but don't call me for money. I don't have it, you know? Sorry. But you have the right to put in boundaries for yourself with your family. I was actually talking to someone and they were telling me about things that they want within their family. Like they want their family to be more connected and things that they were willing to do. And I was just kind of like, well, what boundaries are you going to put into place? Because every time you talk to them, they make you feel bad. You have the right to say, hey, I want you in my life, but if you're going to be in my life, I need you to do these things. And if you're not willing to do those things, just make sure that you follow through with your boundary. You do not crack. You don't crack. So, at any rate, you have a right, even with your family, to put in a boundary. All right, guys. So, the point of all of this is to make sure that you have boundaries with whoever it is that you are talking to. So the 3 steps to putting in a boundary is making sure A, that you create that boundary. B, you inform and let everyone know that that is your boundary. Whoever it's supposed to pertain to, make sure that they know what your boundary is. And 3, implement it and maintain it. Make sure that you continue to insist that that is your boundary, because the more that you insist it, the more that it's there. And also, too, you won't have to insist it later because everyone's going to already know. Oh, yeah, Ashley don't give out money. Yeah, she don't give out money, so don't even ask. And it becomes almost like just a thing that everyone knows. You don't have to continuously say it over and over if all these other people are running in the same circles as you. So just make sure that when you are dealing with work, your family, your significant other, or your friends, that you are creating your boundaries, you are announcing your boundaries, and then lastly, you are implementing, maintaining, and keeping those boundaries. You have to be the follow through for yourself. You have to. So guys, I hope any of those things were useful to you. I hope maybe you connected with some of those and it helped you conjure up the kind of boundaries that you want to implement for yourself. If so, comment down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you for watching this video. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.